going for a trip to Sri Lanka tomorrow. How do you feel?
I am excited to see my family, but I know situation as a country is not
Mm.
so good.
Right. So we're both here in New Zealand at the moment. I'm a Kiwi, just recovering a little bit from a cold, so my voice is slightly croaky. And you've been living in New Zealand for like 6 years,
6 years.
and
Mm.
finally, now that COVID has calmed down a little bit, you get to go back to Sri Lanka. Okay. So,
Yeah,
like,
after
what
three
is
three
actually
years.
happening in Sri Lanka?
At this point, it is in a financial crisis, a situation created with lot of other events and circumstances and mismanagement of money for maybe
Mm.
over long period of time.
So, like, the big news story that, like, that is on the New Zealand news everywhere is like
Yeah.
the protesters like storming into the president's house and swimming in his pool. Um,
Oh, yeah.
and so like, is the like airports open, all that kind of stuff? Are you going to be able to get a taxi
Yeah.
or anything from the airport?
A taxi will be so expensive. Hopefully, my brother or someone from family come pick me up from the airport. Um, they're planning and getting ready for it.
Mm. So they've managed to get some fuel. They had to
Yeah,
queue
yeah,
for a long
yeah.
time,
At
or
some point, it was 7 days long queue. They had to get petrol and they use it with a plan, like very carefully.
so whereabouts is your family like situated in Sri Lanka? So like, you've got Colombo, like the biggest city.
Yeah. It is a little away from Colombo, maybe like 60 kilometers away from Colombo to the middle of the country. It is considered a little bit far from Colombo in Sri Lanka.
So your family is like kind of like almost rural.
Almost, yeah.
Oh yeah. So what do we think's going to happen next? So now there's been all this unrest, the protests, storm the president's house, swim in his pool. Like, what will happen next? Like, do they have to have new elections? Will the parliament be thrown out? Will there be charges? What's going to happen?
Um, According to the constitution, per my understanding, that we have to go with this parliament or the this system for another 2 years to get to an
Mm.
election. But in the history, there has been situations that people riots have thrown governments away.
So probably what's going to happen next is just the current politicians will mostly stay in power. Maybe one like the president will change or something, and then uh, but mostly the same people in charge until the next elections.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about two scenarios. If people protest and do not give up until they get what they want, enforce law, like law is equal to everybody, and there's a system to get over this economical crisis, and going to an election as the second step will be first scenario, or still politicians have power to turn this over and still be in power, doing the same stuff they're doing. That's the scenario two. We are hoping for the scenario one, that people do not give up, just keep protesting,
Mm.
keep doing this until we get what we
Mm.
want.
Mostly the protest started because of like the cost of fuel, cost of food is like too high. But the reason why the living costs have gone so high is because of this like unfair rule of law or corruption or something
Yes,
like that.
yes, because it is impossible for a country like Sri Lanka, which has a lot of natural resources and human resources, to be bankrupt. It is all about mismanagement, corruption, and not having a good plan and not having good brains in parliament.
Probably what we think might happen would be like the current government makes some token, change the president or something like this, and then they do some immediate changes just to make cost of living a little bit lower, maybe make fuel a bit more available, maybe bring food down with some subsidies, and then go back to their old ways as soon as people forget.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that's what I'm seeing.
mm, mm.
Uh,
but we
yeah, because
we we're hoping that maybe some more systemic change can happen with this unrest. Maybe some new political party, some new politicians that aren't in the same old corrupt kind of ways. Something like that.
yeah, yeah. People are happy to bear this situation for some more time if we get a permanent solution in long term. Not just like still these politicians can reduce a little bit of fuel price, food prices, and after 2 years or maybe a year, they will get back to their normal routine.
A new person or a new party, a new movement, any sort of name or like banner that people can choose. Is there like a notable person or somebody who's trying to lead this kind of this unrest?
I see there are few moments coming together in this protest, and there are few young leaders as well. A bad thing we did in our past was we depended on a person. Always there was a character, personality put on the show when there's an election coming. Probably this time people believe in a more
Mm.
written constitution or agreement between general public and a party or any other movement rather than with a person.
Like hoping for like a change to the constitution or a change to like the fundamental rules of the country to make the rule of law or something like this a lot more set in stone and harder to change and not just the whims of an individual.
um Actually it's not just a change. We need a brand new constitution. It has been like few changes every 2 years or 3 years, every new government adding into the constitution. This constitution has very old laws or policies, even like made during British time, like back in
Mm.
1940s, which does not compatible with today's
So like a
situation.
whole rehaul over the constitutional system to update it so it's not an old British one, make it so it reflects the needs and the wants of the people for the moment. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think the chances of that happening are?
um I see it's 50-50 at this point moment is in general public side, but it it can go either way because still politician has their network and power, money. It can change at any point if we go
Hmm.
give up.
Maybe there'd be something we can talk about in the future as the sort of like the interest groups in Sri Lanka or like like the different teams or the different players.
I mean, my personal opinion is that those different teams must come together and make like middle ground and work together. Otherwise, we're gonna. I mean, general public is gonna lose over politicians, even though there
Mm.
are a small number of people, they have a large amount of we don't even know how much power and network. Everything is in their hands.
Right. And you think country is going to be safe enough that you can, you know, the plane will be able to land, you'll be able to be picked up, you'll be able to get home without any police or protesters or anything getting in the way, and you're not going to be at risk yourself.
Oh no, no, no. Yeah, yeah, it'll be all right. I mean, it's not that unsafe or anything. Even protesters are not violent or anything. It was peaceful whole time. They were just expressing their opinion peacefully.
Mm.
There were no violence, except few incidents where police try to dissolve protest using tear gases and maybe few gunfire fires as well. But it has not been like violent as what we normally see in a protest.
Mm. All right. Well, um, stay safe, travel safe, and hopefully you can give me a call next week and let me know what it was like on the ground and what you saw for yourself. And